We got Jimmie Rivera back here on the program. He's going to be taking on John Dodson at UFC 228 on September 8th. Jimmy, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's good to catch you on one of your breaks again. How was today? How was training? How was all that?
I'm tired. It's we got one more hard day before the weekend, so Friday's like one of those days where you're happy that the next day you get a break and it's the weekend, but you're also like, fuck, I got to do one more hard day of training and then I can enjoy my weekend.
Lots to talk about. Obviously, your division is going through a bit of an influx right now. We just had the title fight this past weekend between TJ and Cody Garbrandt, the rematch. Were you surprised to see TJ finish him, or did you sort of expect that in the rematch?
I thought it was going to go to distance or TJ was going to get a late finish. I was so surprised first round. I think, it looked like Cody got a little bit emotional, but I don't want to say like he did or didn't. You can't really tell, but he just found the opening, TJ. He threw those right hands one after another, pretty much sealed the deal.
Yeah, no, it was an interesting fight, and I'm curious to see what they do next with TJ because, Henry Cejudo wants to move up and all this other stuff, so who knows what's going to happen. Your division is stacked at the moment. This is new for you and me, man. Normally we're talking about you coming off a win. Your first loss officially since November 2008. The fight against Moraes, what went wrong in that fight in your opinion? Was it just a quick mistake? How do you sort of look at that performance?
Kind of a little bit of everything. A quick mistake. I thought it was going to be a body kick, and it came up on a weird angle. But also, it was, I was dealing with some issues with the fight itself and some personal issues. So it came down to it. I don't think my complete focus was there for the fight. Made a mistake too. Learned from it. Got back up. Signed another fight like 3 weeks later. So, it's a live and learn kind of thing. It is what it is. Unfortunately, that's the sport. But, thank God I walked out of there. The only thing I had was like a little bump on my head, no concussion, no nothing. Walked out of there, looked fine. I was just, the emotions you're a little upset about the loss. That's it.
Yeah, no, I saw on Twitter like immediately after. It wasn't immediately after, but it seemed like very close to the fight. You were like, sign me up, give me the toughest guy you can get me. Like you were ready to go. Like you just were like,
yeah.
I want to move past that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it happens. I think some people dwell on it. Everybody's a little different. I grew up in Tyler Showman's in the martial arts world, and you get knocked back down, you just get back up, you try it again, you get back on the horse. It really doesn't matter. Some guys are different. And I'm just like, all right, it happened. Let's go. Let's get back and let's get another fight going.
One thing I do want to ask before we head in and talk about this fight, is the beef with your camp and Moraes' camp over? Because there was a lot of heated stuff going in there with Ali and Marlon Moraes.
It was really just, we had no beef with his camp. Mark Henry's a cool guy. Marlon's a nice guy. He never really says anything bad. Unless, most of the time when you can understand him. Ali, listen, when it comes down to his manager, I don't hate anybody that's successful. I don't mind it at all. It's just a respect kind of thing and being decent. I mean, like, all right, if you're going to stick up for your guy, that's fine, but don't be disrespectful to the guy that you're giving a hard time to, his wife, and say all this shit. Like, it's just a nonstop battle. I just think, at the end of it, I laugh. Like when I was at the press conference, he just started laughing because I turn and look, and he's standing next to Cody. So I'm looking at Cody because I'm like, all right, how tall is he? Size him up, kind of like if I ever have to fight him. And he just starts to run his mouth, and I just start laughing. I'm like, this guy, he doesn't stop. There's no off switch. You know what I mean? But he's very successful, and there's nothing against that. I just think he doesn't have any manners. He's not respectful. But it's probably the way he was brought up. You know what I mean? That's kind of like their culture, right? Don't they have, like, Muslims and stuff? Don't they believe in multiple wives and all this other stuff? Like, it's a rough.
I don't know, man. You're asking the wrong guy right now. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, maybe it's just his upbringing. He just wasn't respectful to women. That's it. But
okay, no, I see what you're getting at. Yeah.
Yeah, it's past me. I don't care. I'm just really focused on Dodson right now.
Well, I was just going to say, now you have the polar opposite. I mean, John Dodson, I don't think anybody hates that guy. He's such a friendly guy. You see him smiling all the time. Like, how do you go from Moraes to this,
I don't. You know what? I'm trying to figure out what to do in weigh-ins. Like, I know he's going to do the hand thing, so I don't know if I'm going to do, like, the finger thing. I don't really know yet. I just, I think at the end of it, he's a very nice guy. Going to go into the fight, though, and I want to beat him. He's, the next person in front of me that I need to beat to keep moving forward. And, it kind of, when the gate's closed, it's like, all right, it's no more fun and games. It's now we got to beat the shit out of each other. Someone's got to walk out with their hand raised, Someone's got to walk out without. So I think that's really what it comes down to. So if you know how to split that, That's what I'm gonna do. He's a nice guy. I mean, I'm looking forward to the fight. He's a well-known opponent. He's been around for a long time, so it's a very good fight. It's not like it's a bad fight. Very well-known, been around a long time, so people like him. It's gonna be a good fight.
And how do you feel like you match up against him? I mean, as far as picking a next opponent, this is as tough as it gets. I mean, Dodson's only really lost splits, and then he obviously lost at flyweight. But I mean, he even holds a win over the champ right now. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think I match up well. We've been working on game plans, and we have a really good lefty in our camp that you've interviewed before, Julio Arce, who really emulates him a lot, really well. And the only thing is the difference between some fighters or himself is that he's like very like in and out, in and out. You know what I mean? If you're coming in, he's moving away. He's waiting for you to kind of jump in, or he's waiting to burst in but then come out again. So that's the only thing that kind of sucks when you're fighting someone like a Dodson, is just because they don't want to stay in the pocket. He wants to hit, move. I think that's the only downside of fighting him. Besides that, that's really it.
In training camp, I imagine just the same at Tiger Schulman's, Shane Burgos, Julio Arce, and Mike Trezano. Like, I imagine just a bunch of guys like that. Nothing really changing there?
Yeah, nothing really changes there. Really working with Spawn was just primarily Julio, because Julio is the best. I mean, he's a little taller than him and bigger reach, but you don't get a better lefty than Julio. So there's no reason to go outside the camp or having to worry about training with anybody else. The main times I went outside was like train with Bermudez a little bit and Frankie a lot when I was getting ready for the Uriah Faber fight. That was really important because Faber was his wrestling. Besides that, a lot of times we could have guys in our camp to emulate each other. Even when I was getting ready for Cruz, I had guys emulate in our camp Cruz, so we were set. So with that said, yeah, just getting ready. Same guys, trading and working.
I know it wasn't the prettiest fight in the world, but how much of a boost was it to your team seeing Trezano win the Ultimate Fighter? I know he was a guy that you guys have been high on for a while, and he gets this opportunity and he takes advantage of it.
It's a huge boost. I think he still has a lot to learn, but he could definitely fight and take his time working his way up the ranks. He still has to get more experience, and I think that'll come. But he had an opportunity to get into the Ultimate Fighter and get known, and I think it was one of the best opportunities. It was like a deal you couldn't really pass up. So he had to really take it, and he did well. And I think he'll just keep getting better. It just needs more fights, and I think they got something going on for MSG already for him.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
Oh, same guys. Danny Showman, Ron Showman, and Ray Velez. My same coaches all the time. Whenever I get a fourth, the fourth is automatically Luis Gallinell. So that's my fourth all the time. But yeah, same guys. There's nothing different. Cam just training hard. It's nice going from 5 rounds to 3 rounds training. It's a lot easier.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. How do you see this fight playing out on September 8th?
I'm always gonna, like people always ask me, I'm always gonna look for the finish, but I just got to take my time with him. You know what I mean? He is a very fast dude, and he jumps in and out and stuff like that. So just take my time and pick him apart.
And like I mentioned off the top of this interview, I mean, you're coming into new territory here off a loss. You get a win here. Where do you realistically think that puts you in the division? Do you think that gets you back in the driver's seat? Because it's really crowded right now at the top at bantamweight.
I honestly, right now with the bantamweight divisions going on, I honestly, if Seguro doesn't rematch DJ, if DJ can't do the fight, because that was a really close fight. It could have went either way that 5th round. It was 2-2 going in the 5th. Could have went either way. I think it should be a rematch, but I don't know if someone's hurt or whatever it is. But then I can see if Seguro doesn't fight, I can see TJ dropping down to 25 or coming up Seguro. I can see that because that's what he wants to do. I've heard listened to his interviews. He wants to drop down and go there. I can see vice versa. It's Seguro coming up, but I can also see the Cruz fight happening too. And that's if you go with the Seguro fight or the Cruz fight, it's a good fight. If you're the champ, it's a good money fight for you. But you can't pass up Sansa. I feel like he doesn't really get enough. I mean, Sansa has notable wins. He's beat TJ before. He beat Marlon. And right now with him and TJ, it would be a trilogy fight because they're 1-1. So it would be a good fight too. So those are like the top 3 contenders I can see coming. But like I said, you don't know what's going to happen.
If Cruz does get it, does that bother you a little bit that you were supposed to fight him and then he would get a title shot? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but would that scenario kind of annoy you a bit?
Yeah, it suck a bit because I'm like, I was supposed to fight him, and now all of a sudden he's healthy once the title fight, a week before the title fight's supposed to happen. I just laugh about it. It's okay. I'm like, it is what it is. He plays that card. But even though if they did fight a rematch, I think TJ is going to correct what he did in his last fight and beat him. I don't see Cruz winning that fight, that rematch. I see it being a close fight with Cejudo and TJ going the distance. But I don't see, or even possibly TJ get a knockout. That could have happened too in that fight because he's a very good wrestler too. But with the Cruz and TJ fight, I feel like it's going to go distance. But TJ will get the win by decision. He's going to correct what he did. What he'll do better, in the first fight. Because I watched the first fight when I was getting ready. While I was there for the first fight, but also I watched the fight a lot getting ready for Cruz. And you watch it, and when I was there, I thought TJ won. But when you really watch it, Cruz made TJ miss more than plenty of times, and I think the takedowns were really big, and that's what really sealed the round for him. And I think that's how he really won, were those takedowns. And I think TJ will correct what he could do better in that first fight and do it in the second fight.
You watching any TV right now during training camp?
I actually was watching Thor Ragnarok because it's funny. Every time I watch it, I just think, like, I went in, I thought it was going to be serious because the first two Thors were serious, and all of a sudden the third one is just line after line of jokes and stuff like that. My wife and I just started Goliath season 2. So we just started that. Yeah, the first season was unbelievable. So we just started the second season. Besides that, nothing too crazy. We're hoping that we're in Dallas. My wife is a big fan of Fixer Upper. So we're hoping that we could go after my fight and meet Chip and Joanna Gaines. Worst comes to worst, at least we'll just go to the silos and she can go around and say she finally has been there. But yeah, we'll hope to do that. I don't know what'll happen. I never, throw all my eggs in one basket. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But at least we could get over there and see it. She's a huge fan. She got me onto the show, so I never watched the show. She said, just watch one episode. And when you own a house and when you buy your future house, you're gonna, like, when you get in, you're like, all right, what about this? What about that? Like, you want to keep watching episodes, see what different things they do. And I like the concepts and stuff like that. So when you're a homeowner, like, you appreciate it more. And I started watching. I'm like, I really appreciate it because there's some cool stuff they do. So I see what happens.
I hear you. Well, we certainly got to check out your fight coming up here September 8th. It's UFC 228. Jimmie, I always appreciate the time, man. Always good talking to you. Just remind people where they can find you on social media. And if you have any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks, man. You can always find me on Twitter. I'm Jimmie135, Jimmie Rivera 135, or Instagram at Jimmie Rivera. And I just like to thank, Eat Clean Bro for my meals, NutriBio for all my supplements, Tiger Fight Gear for all my equipment, Everman Jack sending me, keeping me clean and fresh, and to my management company, Balance Group, and Team Tiger Showmans.